All right. I think I'm live on Facebook here, and I just want to say is welcome to the Native Wellness Institute. I'm doing a few technical things right now. Let me see here. I should have been doing this the beforehand, but I was having a conversation with Shailene. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. All right. There I am. Cool. At least I think I am. I'm live on Facebook here, and but yep, there I am. So cool. One thing, I'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Be right back. So I hope you saw that little sign right there. Make your life a story worth telling. A little bit of that. And so it's good to be here today on this day of um, for the Native Wellness Institute. I've already said that. So I think we're on a day or program 63 or something like that, or week 63 for the Native One for the Power Hours. And and to be a little honest with you, I'm a little scattered right now because there's just so much going on and so much going on out there in the world. And so right on, just want to say it's always good to see Jewel. Jewel's always good on there. Raven, welcome, welcome, welcome. No Rainbow, good to see you again. Always good to see you. So reach out to your relatives out there and just have them tune in today. Um, just to share some thoughts or whatever it is. If you have any questions or thoughts, put it in the chat there too. And if even if I'm going to ask my relative Shailene, just keep an eye on the chat. Maybe there's a question there somebody might have. But I'm gonna sing this song, and the song I'm going to sing, just a little prayer song, just to get me grounded. Today we're talking about tools of the spirit. Right here, tools of the spirit. Right here, got my drum. And I need this right now just because my thoughts are scattered and my spirit's a little bit everywhere. And so this helps me ground, helps me connect, helps me be in the moment, just to sing, just to sing. As I sing this song, I just want you to join in with me as I sing this song and help yourself ground, be in the moment. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're sitting at your desk, or maybe you're sitting at your house, wherever you're at. Maybe outside, maybe you're going for a walk, which would be awesome, and you're listening in. But just connect with the song in any way you can. Connect with your ancestors. Connect with the land of your ancestors. Connect with the land of your ancestors. And yeah, and connect with the children, the children around, and whatever else is on your mind or whatever else is in your heart. As you're walking around trees, think the trees. If you see a bird, think the birds, and think the air that you're breathing. So I'm just going to take a little moment here and just to ground. Oh, there we go. Much better, much better. Gonna cheese, and yakusan, yakewe hayade. Gonna cheese. My name is Gene Tagaban. I'm of the Duck Day and Ton clan, the Raven Freshwater Socket clan from Hoona, Alaska, the child of a Wishkatan Eagle Shark clan from Mahuan in Juneau, Alaska. I'm Cherokee, Tlinket, and Filipino. I'm Cherokee Tlinkapino. Um, my mother, her Cherokee name is Weesh. And before the Trail of Tears, she traced our lineage back to this place, location that they now call Georgia and Tennessee in North Carolina. And my last name is Tagaban, and it's pronounced Tagaban in the Philippines. And my grandfather comes from Bantok, and my great grandfather comes from Ilocos Norte. And that's a little bit of who I am. And right now, I'm talking to you and coming to you from the coast, the territories of the Coast Salish peoples on the land of the Puyallup, and my hands go up to the peoples of this territory and the Puyallup for their stewardship of this land, for the encroachment of this Western civilization that we have here. And I say this encroachment of the Western civilization that we have here is, it's one thing I really want to start this off with is first of all acknowledgments, and our relative, I just want to acknowledge our relative, Shailene Joseph with the Native Wellness Institute. I mean, took this piece out, this here beaded piece, this raven that she made for me, and she gifted it to me, and you take it out into the sun. I took it out there in the sun and it just sparkles. And, my hands up to Shailene and your gift. And we all have a skills, gift, and talent. We all have a skills, gift, and talent, and use your skills, gift, and talent to for the people. Use it. Creator gave it to you to use. Creator gave it to you to use, to be present to. And Shailene uses that, and she brings her artwork, and every piece of art that she does, it's not only just a beautiful piece, but she fully puts her spirit into it. She fully puts her spirit into it, and that's how our people are, eh? We put our spirit into what we do. We show. That's why we're very passionate, and we're very emotional people too, and loving people. And so my acknowledgments to Shailene. So thank you for that beautiful gift that you presented me with, and just your presence and the gift that your uh, the people have that you've gifted them with. And truly sharing your skills, your gifts and talent out there. And I talk about that, about our skills, gifts, and talents because, um, we are the light. We are the light. And Creator gave us that light, and our ancestors. And Theta, we've had a whole week of power hours. Monday was the Memorial Day. Tuesday was Robert Johnston talking about letting go. And we had Theta, she was on Wednesday. Yesterday we had Lavina and Shelley Boyd. The Dashdo decision. Forgive me if we're not pronouncing it right, but I just kind of want to review on this week because it's been a heavy week, and I want to start this off too by saying, acknowledging those 215 children that were found. We're gonna light a bit of little sage here, little smudge. Those 215 children who were found in Kamloops at that boarding school there. And it's interesting. Check out this flame, the orange flame on this sage, the orange, and it's orange that represents that we wear an acknowledgement of our children in the boarding schools, residential schools, or let me say, re-education camps. These re-education camps is what they really were. And so that flame that burns, that orange, it's the color orange that we wear in acknowledgement of those in those re-education camps. And what an appropriate color. What an appropriate color as I burn the sage. I can't help but think my wife and I, Ruby, were talking about that, about how many were lost just there. How many weren't able to share their skills, gifts, and talents with the world. How many stories were lost. And the grief and hurt of the families who these ones were taken from, and they never recovered. And we lost them too, because their grief was so deep that they succumbed to it, maybe through alcohol or just walked in the woods. Who knows? I don't know. But then all those residential schools, those boarding schools across Turtle Island, and the numbers, and the numbers, and the numbers. We've been dealing with, but the greatest pandemic that we've been dealing with as Indian people is and indigenous people, not over here, but other peoples, indigenous peoples across the world, children. The stealing of our children, those stolen generations, taken away. And we're going to continue on, and those little ones who they found their buried, and all those other ones that our Mother Earth has taken them in and held them. They'll be remembered, and we need to. It's up to us, of our ancestors are there on this Turtle Island, to share those stories, to continue on, to continue to learn, to continue to teach, and to heal, and to heal, and to heal, and to heal. And I'm seeing this happening. I want to reflect a little bit on what Sister Theta was saying on Thursday about, she was talking about those little ones and those young ones who were found, and about just the teddy bears. They gathered up teddy bears, and they put these 215 teddy bears out there in a line, just to honor the spirits of the children, that childlike spirit. And so even some of the tools of our spirit is just acknowledging them, thinking of the good times, the good memories. Because just before we went on here, Shailene and I were talking about some of the ones we've lost during our loved ones. She was just recently lost her father. I recently lost an uncle and a few other relatives out there. And as I talk about them, I think about my relatives that I've lost. I think about the good times, the good memories, those good times and those good memories of them. And the hard times, yeah, they come up, but to really acknowledge that, acknowledge their clan, acknowledge their people. Yesterday I went out and I was working with a group of kids out on the beach. They were 6th and 7th graders, one 8th grader. They made sure that they let me know that there's one 8th grader there. And so there's about 15 of them. And so I brought up some tobacco, and I just said, okay, what are we thankful for? And we just went around and shared. Some of them shared more than once. And then we're going to take this tobacco and we're just going to place it in the water. We're going to place it in the water. And simply just state what you're thankful for, and just after you place it in the water, the tobacco, just say, thank you, thank you, thank you. As I stood there and they placed their tobacco into the water, those youth, those kids, I said, now, thank all those other kids who came before you, who may not be here now. What would you do for the world now? And these kids just kept coming back. I have more tobacco here. It keeps coming back, and I had it in my hands and getting more tobacco going to the water, asking me, can I have some more? I said, yes. More tobacco going to the water. Can I have some more? Yes. Yes, here you go. I got as much as you want. Going back to the water and placing the tobacco into the water. Into the water. And they didn't even need me to ask them after a bit. They just kept coming to the getting tobacco and putting it in the water. And so the prayers of our children are powerful. The prayers of our children are powerful. And just know that you are a child of this earth. And maybe as a child, you weren't able to say those prayers or offer those prayers, and the way that you wanted, because maybe now you're just starting to learn about this stuff or these ceremonies and such. Just get some tobacco and just place it in the water. Place it on the land, by the trees. Hold it in your hands. Breathe the air into it, your breath. Simply say thank you, even if you don't know what to say. Just know that your spirit knows what to say. Just know that your heart knows what to say. Your soul knows what to say. Just know that the whispers of the ancestors that are whispered in your mind and in your spirit right now, they know what to say, and that is going into your tobacco and into your prayers, and just simply place it onto the earth. Wherever you're at, you could be in the middle of New York City and you could do this. Spirit doesn't care. Spirit doesn't care. Because you're making the efforts, the acknowledgments that needs to happen. And what's going on is that we're not doing that, and we're seeing that. We're getting further and further and further away from spirit. And everything's becoming material. So just simply take that, and those, again, tools of the spirit. Those are some of the tools that we have. And if you don't have tobacco with you, just offer some food. And if you don't have any of that, food or anything, just simply offer your breath. Blow it into your hand and offer your breath. Creator, offer you this breath. That's my prayer. Thank you for being there. Thank you. Hear my heart. My heart speaks more than my words. Thank you. To offer your breath, the sacredness of your breath. The sacredness of your breath. And so I acknowledge those 215, and Theta talked about placing out the teddy bears and, and to remember them. And remember all those boarding schools. There's like 300 and something schools just in this country that they call the United States. And all those ones that are there, the marked graves, let alone the unmarked graves. And so those words that Theta was talking about, I was listening to them on Wednesday, and really touched me in a deep level. And she talked about how hearing about this what happened at Kamloops at that school, about the 215, triggered a lot of people. It triggered me. It triggered me. One of the this meme, I guess, is going out there, and it says, "And a whisper is heard." And a whisper is heard. They finally found us. That little whisper. And it just hit me deep. And thinking about this, and thinking, I'm always thinking about, how many more of my relatives would have been here, because I had relatives that went to those boarding schools, those residential schools, those re-education camps. I had relatives who went there, and how many of them didn't make it? How many more relatives would I have? Cousins, aunties, uncles. Yeah, I wonder. But again, I won't let them be forgotten. I will speak of them. I will acknowledge this land I'm on. And that's another way, tool of the spirit, to acknowledge that is just to acknowledge the land that you're on. And not only that, acknowledge the place that you were born. Whose land was it that you were born on? What a sacred place. What a sacred time with your birth. And do you know whose land it was that you were born on? Where's your house? The indigenous peoples, where your house is placed at. Who's there first? The original inhabitants. We need to talk about this. Have this discussion. Have this discussion. And so, yeah, I was triggered. And so I've been getting outside a little bit. Been kind of sitting quiet a little bit too with my own thoughts. That's another thing that you can do, another tool that you can do. Just sit quiet with your own thoughts. Slow down your mind a little bit. And if you have a hard time slowing down your mind, just go for a walk. Or if you need to go for a run, go to the water, whatever that is, what might work for you. And so I just want to, again, acknowledge that. And some of you are out there thinking about these words that I'm saying as well, and your thoughts. And I acknowledge your thought response. And what we're talking about now, when we all come together and we all start talking about this, like what I was telling those kids yesterday when they went to the water and they just dropped the tobacco. And I told them is what we're doing is we're giving an example of collective healing when we're all here giving thanks, giving collective gratitude. And there's power in unity. And there's power in unity, and there's strength in unity, and there's energy in unity. And that's why, when we talk about those who are lost, like the 215, continue to talk about them, because that is collective healing. The more we talk about it, collective acknowledgement, the more we acknowledge all of us, and to see this spread. Like, one of the things I love in the world is waking up and listening to the dawn chorus. And if you don't know what the dawn chorus is, that's the birds every morning when the sun comes, just start to wake everything up. The birds wake up and they'll start singing. And this happens all across the world. And so this dawn chorus, as the light goes on its way across the earth, it's as if the birds are singing. It's a dawn chorus. It's as if a wave is going across this earth, and this has been going on for, as long as the birds have been around and able to sing. But this is what I see of how once we just get on this collective healing, all of us, and we just acknowledge spirit, acknowledge spirit. And that's what we're missing in the world, that connection to spirit. And that when we're all that collective healing, collective spiritual acknowledgement, collective land acknowledgement, people acknowledge, ancestral acknowledgement, it's as if that just like that dawn chorus, it's just going to be a wave that just circles the earth and catches on. And all indigenous people, those in New Zealand, Australia, over in Asia, all the way across the world, Mongolia, as it circles around our African American brothers and sisters, and all those, it just goes around that world. And some people may say right now, they might be thinking, wow, you have one heck of an imagination, man. Yeah, man, you're a dreamer, aren't you? I am a dreamer. And I'm asking you to dream too. And I'm asking you to imagine this into existence, because our ancestors dreamt us into existence. Our ancestors imagined us into existence, and here we are. And it's time for us to have our dreams going out there and to dream and be the dreamers. And it's time for us to imagine the possibilities and that collective imagination. Yes, I am a dreamer. Yes, I am a creator. I am part of the creator. And my imagination about possibilities. about possibilities. I'm asking you to do the same. And when I talk about this here, this thing, tools of the spirit, and that is part of our tool is our collective imagination, our collective dreams, and using our collective positive intelligence that was given to us. Using our collective positive intelligence that Creator gave to us, that our ancestors gave to us, and coming together. Right on, Carolina. You're a dreamer. Right on. I'm just reading some of these connections here. I want to connect with you. Lola, thanks for being here. Right on. Rainbow, thanks. Thanks for being here. Alex, right on. Again, all of you who are here. And we're the thing is we're here together too. Even here, you're on this, we're online here, we're here. This is right now collective healing of you just watching and being present to this. But then I need you to go out to your circles as well, your families, your friends, and just be that dreamer within that circle too, going out there. So this is a little bit of what Theta is talking about. She always talks about this as well, and so I just want to reflect on that, what Theta was talking about, and this other thing too that Levina, yesterday she was talking about, and I'm going to get this wrong, the name of it wrong. Um, uh, the shadow, that the decision. That's basically what they talked about. Her, Levina, and Shelley Boyd. They were talking about there are no borders, man. There's no borders, and they had a decision in Canada, a Supreme Court decision that said that yes, Indigenous people, First Nations people, had the right to hunt on their land, to go on these here, to gather foods in their land, to have ceremonies, and that there is no border, that there's no border. And that the border was imposed on this existence of colonization and westernization and assimilation and genocide and extermination. And the doctrine of discovery, and and so that border, I'm reading a couple notes that I took there, that border doesn't exist. And so that's what this decision was based on. And so we can cross those borders, have ceremonies, and hunt and fish and collect and gather and be. And we have that right. And we have that right. And Shelley shared this quote. She was talking about that us as Native people, Indigenous people, because they finally were recognized. There's so many tribes here in the United States, here, this country, Turtle Island, that they call the United States. There's a lot of people who are unrecognized tribe, and there's a lot of them, because what they want is like, the genocide and the extinction of the people, and she said this thing that her tribe was guilty of being extinct until found innocent of extinction. You see, when you're not recognized, it's like as if you're just pushed to the side and you don't exist anymore. Guilty of being extinct until you have to go into the court system, to the government, and to prove that until found innocent of extinction. That's crazy. Our people have always been here. You just can't say, no, you don't exist. Which they wanted. They still want. But here we are. And that's why we need to use our skills, gifts, and talent and be present and tell them and show them and come together collectively. Here we are. Here we are. No, we are present. We are present. We are presence. You know, so we got to continue to tell our stories and our history. And not only that, are we telling the stories and our histories of our people, human beings, but also we need to be the voice for the land. We need to be a voice for the animals, the mountains. We need to be a voice for the water and the very air that we breathe. You see, the air is an ancestor. The waters are ancestors. The mountains are ancestors. The animals themselves are ancestors. When the rain falls on our heads and falls and we shy away from it, we have to cover our heads and such, though they are ancestors. That the ancestral rains. Just the vibration of the songs that we sing, the vibration itself is an ancestor. Everything around us is energy, and energy is ancestor. And our old ancestors, they were geniuses. They understood this concept, but we've gotten so far away from that. Ancestors are everywhere, are everywhere. If we just close our eyes and again, using our collective imagination, our collective creativity, our collective dreaming, and we're able to see spirit and ancestors all around us and everything. And that is the gift of our children. Again, the gift of our children's prayers are powerful, but the gift of their creativity and their imagination is powerful. And as we grow up and we grow older, it's like we go through this filter of adulthood, and those things are just filtered off of us, and now we have to like become grown up, an adult, and leave all those childish things behind, like imagination, creativity, playfulness. No. Our people knew how to play, how to imagine and create. And we need to hang on to these things. Hang on to these things. And so to see everything, we are the voice of the environment and the land itself, of our ancestral lands. And one thing I do want to be aware of is pick your battle, because there's so much going on in the world. You have to pick your battle. You can't do it all. And when I was younger, and I'm talking to some of the younger generations right now, they have this energy, man. They have this energy that they just want to go out there and do everything, speak on everything, and battle for everything. I was the same way. I was the same way. And I ended up getting sick. I mean, really sick. I've had pneumonia like about 12, 15 times. But we have to be cautious of that. We have to pick our battles, especially as I get older. I just don't have the energy, not like when I was a kid, or I was younger in my 20s or even 30s. What is your battle? And it doesn't have to be on this big global platform, just within your own house. Or even then, it doesn't even have to be there. It's just within this house. My uncle told me not enough people doing their homework. What you mean, Uncle? This our home. We got to do our homework. And that's where it starts, right here. Doing your homework. Take care of your home. Take care of your space, right here. And then taking care of your home and taking care of your space. This space right here, it is like a pebble that is dropped in the water, and the concentric rings that vibrate out. Or when you hit the drum and you feel the vibration vibrating out. By taking care of this space, we're like that, and we just vibrate out. And maybe you will be somebody who speaks on a global platform, maybe. But if you're not, that's okay. We still need you to do your homework. Take care of this space. And in taking care of this space, you're taking care of this space around us. Take care of that. And so that's some of the things I was talking about with Theta, what she was talking about. Hang on a second here. I got to check the time because okay, I got time because time just gets away from me sometimes. Sometimes, my uncle said, time goes by so fast. Sometimes time goes by real slow. Either way, it's going by. So to make the most of your time. So that's what Lavina and Shelley were talking about, and I just want to acknowledge them too as two women warriors out there doing the work, two women warriors who are speaking up, uh, for the passion of their people and for the passion of the children, wanting to make a world better, create a better world for the children. So that when we pass on and we become those ancestors, because one day we will be those ancestors, and think about what kind of ancestor that you want to be. And what are we doing now to assist and help our ancestors to heal? And what are we doing now to heal so that that energy, because all that stuff, it's all energy, man, is not passed on to the next generation so they don't have to carry it. That reminds me of something I was reading, and it's around suicide, life and death. We've been in an epidemic of suicide for a while. And the pain that our relatives, they feel. Gosh, unfortunately, when they end their pain with death, but that energy, that pain, that hurt is an energy, and it just gets passed on like a fog. It just gets passed on from one person to the next, might be to your family. And so what can we do to heal? What do we need to do to heal? Because again, it's an energy, it's like a fog, so that fog can just finally lift and start to dissipate. We need to talk about it. We need to acknowledge it. We need to pray, have ceremony, share breath, share words, share food, cry, scream, yell, run, all those things. Talk to somebody, hug, sleep, heal, heal. And so, yeah. So Levina and Shelley, thank you for your words that you gave us yesterday. And I'm going to reflect back onto what Robert was saying on Tuesday as well about how letting go, how we're going to let go, and all these things here. When I'm talking about tools of the spirit, this is all I'm sharing with you. All these tools that each and every one of this week's presenters, speakers, those who are our family, our Native Wellness Institute family, we're speaking on. And Robert Johnston was speaking on Tuesday about letting go. And he was talking about the power of our thoughts, the power of our mind, the power of our imaginations, all the things I've been talking about. The power of our senses. It's one of those things too, I like to share, is like the quality of our lives are equal to the quality of our communication. And when I say the quality of our communication, means our voices that we use to speak to ourselves, or the pictures we create in our minds, or the feelings we generate within ourselves, even smell and taste, emotions is part of our communications. And the intuitions that we carry with us is part of our communications as well. That intuition, that inner voice that's given to us, and those ancestors or spirits, all that intuition, all that. So all that is communication, and the quality of our communication, how we talk to ourselves, how we communicate with ourselves, because the how we communicate to ourselves, again, is like that concentric ring. If you're doing your homework, you're taking care of your space, taking care of your home, your communication that's going on in here, it just vibrates and reverberates out. So if things aren't right in here, things aren't right in here, that vibration gets sent out and it affects all those around you. Just like my grandma, I gotta share this. It's just like my grandma used to say, it's like, all that stuff, it could be like a fart, all that stuff, that sourness, that hurt and that anger, like a fart. You don't mean it to get on anybody else, but it just does. Man, it's like, because if you're farting on yourself on the inside, man, you're going to be farting on everybody else on the outside. So it's like, just stop farting on people, man, and heal. That's got to like be a Native Wellness Institute quote. Start farting on other people and heal. In fact, there's our next t-shirt right there. That's our next t-shirt or our sweatshirt or whatever it is. Stop farting on people and heal. But it's true. If we're farting ourselves on the inside, it's going to affect those on the outside. And that is about our communication. And how do we communicate with ourselves? Be gentle with ourselves, be respectful of ourselves, honor ourselves in those good ways. And I'm just going to ask you, because some of you are like going, man, I've been trying all this your time, man. I've been like hanging on there just by a thread, and that spirit of that doubt, that spirit of like uncertainty, that spirit of hurt, that spirit of pain, the spirit of suicide has just been right there knocking on my door. And I've been trying, and I'm going to continue. And I'm going to tell you right now to keep trying, because you are still here. Keep fighting, and be that warrior, because one day you're going to break through and you're going to go, okay, here I am. And then some other young person is going to come up to you and ask you, help me, help me, help me. Your story is powerful. Your story is powerful. And your story, once you get past your story, all the hardships and all those things, your story becomes a survival guide for somebody else. Your story becomes the survival guide for somebody else. And so to hang in there and work and talk with other people, talk and reach out with other people, do some research. And I want you to do homework. Got to do our homework and learn. Find positive learning, teaching videos on YouTube, TED Talks, whatever. Read good books, listen to good music. You see those books, I got books all around me. Books themselves are a tool of the spirit. And we can use the media and the television and all that stuff as a tool for the spirit and feed their spirit. My dogs, man, my dogs. And so that quality of that communication that we have within ourselves. Right on. Stop farting on others and heal. Yeah. Martha, thank you for good being here. Tina, thank you for being here. Tina, gas, release. Yeah. Don't hold that stuff in, man. And so I'm just going to take a little time right now and shoot. And just to say, my name is Gene Tagaban with the Native Wellness Institute. Thank you for tuning in. I think we're on like program or week 63 or something like that. Program 300 something, program, totally lost count. I didn't even know, Shailene put in the chat, like, who the heck is sponsoring this? I didn't even put that down, sponsoring. That's how scattered I was. And I think this year program's being sponsored by the Seattle Indian Health Board, who's doing amazing work in Seattle with Indian people out there. And so one of the things too is I get winding down here is like what I like what Robert had to share too, as far as letting go. You know, he mentioned this thing about talking to grandma, and that means just going out to the woods. You know, letting go, talking to the trees. If you have a hard time talking with another human being, go and talk to the trees. Go and talk to the water. Go and talk to the rocks or a bird that flies by. Talk to the very air that's in front of you, around you, the presence of air. They're all ancestors. They're all our grandmas. They're all our grandpas. So I talked about, just going out there and just to, even if you're in a city, there's always a tree there. I talked about yesterday too, about how we walking down the city and our energy, we get drawn by energy, but sometimes those trees, man, they're grieving as well. And I've heard the grief of a tree, and I've heard the song of the grief of a tree too, and so if you're in a city, just go up and touch that tree, or just acknowledge the trees as you're going by, because they're just waiting, because they're lonely as well. But they'll sit there, they'll listen to you. And Robert talked about a rock ceremony, about taking a rock, because the rocks are durable. You can heat them up, and stuff, and all kinds of traffic out there. Holy, you can heat these rocks up. Our grandfathers are durable. They use them in the sweats and everything. But you could just put your energy, your thoughts into within those rocks, and say, I don't need you anymore. That thought, that energy, that behavior. And you could toss it in the water, toss it in the trees, or maybe you just need to hold it for a while because you're not done yet. And the rock will take it in. The rock will take it in. Rocks are powerful. They're strong. Be like a rock, man. Sometimes we just need to be like a rock. He talked about using the water. Water. One of the things that I do, I go to the water, even if it's in the middle of winter, go and submerge myself in the water. I don't go dunk. I don't go run really fast, but I walk in slowly with mindfulness, feeling the tingling of the water, the cold water on my body as it goes all the way up. And then when I submerge, and then when I come out, everything is brighter, more crisp and vivid. And I allow the water just to heal me, cleanse me. Even with that too, sometimes I'll go there to the water with intentions of specific things, but sometimes I just allow the water to know what to do, because the water is an ancestor. I allow the water, and I trust that the water knows what to do. Just like fire. Sometimes I'll just like, how many times have we been at a fire and we just stared at the fire? And you think you see things, you think you see shapes, you think you see faces. Because maybe you do. Maybe you just need to take, write whatever it is that you want to let go on a piece of paper and drop it into the fire. Take a breath, put it in the fire, and allow that heat and that fire just to like help you heal and help you let go and relieve things. Even the sweat, the fire. And sometimes we'll take our feathers and we'll just brush ourselves off. Do that. Brush yourself off. Brush yourself off. Or we can just take our hand with our energy. Don't have our feathers, just brush ourselves off. All these are tools to take care of your spirit. To take care of spirit. And just to really be gentle with yourself. Just really be gentle with yourself, and don't beat yourself up too much. Take care of yourself. Honor yourself. And it takes practice, and it takes awareness, and it takes mindfulness. Go outside and just like, what are you grateful for? Just right now, today, just to go out there and, what are you grateful for? And give that to the Creator. And one of the things that we could do is like there's this to pray, and even this word prayer, I've been kind of like tossing that word around, prayer, because me, it's more of acknowledgement. Even more of it's an acknowledgement. when I go out and make an acknowledgement to Creator. And so simple, something as simple as yesterday when I was driving to Seattle, and I had to meet these people, these kids on the beach, working with them. And as I'm driving to Seattle, I'm just saying, "Hey, Creator, I'm going to Seattle. Got to drive through traffic, and then I got my dogs with me, and I gotta find a good place to park. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with them. I don't even know who they are, Creator, but here I am. I'm on my way. A Creator, and this is part of my acknowledgement too of Creator, just to acknowledge that Creator is around. And all I simply did is say, you know what, I just got to put it in your hands. I'm just putting it in your hands. I'm not going to ask you for specific things. I'm just ask you just to set it up for me. I'm putting it in your hands. Just set it up. Put things together. Put it together for me. And you know, and I said, "Goodness, Jesus." I said, "Thank you." And sure enough, yesterday I was reflecting on things, and maybe later on I'll teach about this here thing I use for the with the medicine wheel. And in the morning we wake up with potential, and as we wake up, we always take an action, whatever that is. And from every action, as we go around the medicine wheel, we get a result. Every action produces a result, from the potential we wake up with to an action to the result. And during the evening time, we always reflect on it. So throughout my day, last night I was reflecting on it. And then I had to give thanks to Creator because I made it through Seattle traffic. I made it had a beautiful parking spot. Beautiful. The parking area was crowded out there at the beach, in the park. And it was crowded, but I had a beautiful parking spot right underneath the shade of a tree. So my dogs weren't getting really hot. And then when I got there to the beach and got there with those kids and everything just like just was smooth. And I just, and then on my way home, and got home in time to give my wife a ride and everything. And last night I was laying in bed. I just said, Creator, thank you. Thank you for just setting it up for me. Thank you for setting it up. And I got to continue to learn that. Just like give it over to Creator, man. Hey, Creator, just set it up for me. This is what I need today. This is what I need today. Thank you. And so, tools of the Spirit, man. And the greatest tool that you have is right here. You can have a drum. You can have sage. You can have a feather. Shoot, I like to ride bikes. That's a tool. I like to play music, my guitars, my flutes, my drum, all those things. Tools of the Spirit of my friends, my wife, my dogs are here too. But of all these things around me, my greatest tool is right here. Like you, your greatest tool is right here. It's you. It's your imagination. It's your creativity. It's your creativity. It's your visioning, your envisioning, your dreams. Your dreams. It's your spirit. You are your greatest tool. And so this week we had Robert. Thank you so much, brother. Talk about letting go and Dita acknowledging our children, the 215, and all the other ones that we know they're there. And Levina and Shelly, and about acknowledging that now there are no borders. Here we are, and on Monday was Memorial Day. Memorial Day for those military and those warriors, but Memorial Day in so many more ways, especially for Indian people. So remember all those. They won't be lost. They won't be forgotten. And so with that, thank you all. Thank you all. I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful weekend. And just take care and just I'm going to ask you this though this weekend, just to go outside and just take your shoes off, and I'm just going to ask you sometime this weekend, just sit, even if it's just for 5 minutes, wherever you're at. Go outside, take your shoes off, find some grass, find some earth, find a tree, something in nature, maybe a bird might come by, whatever it is, and just simply say thank you. And then go inside and I want you to look in a mirror and just simply say thank you. Because everything that we've been through, all our behaviors, our hurts, our harms, everything that we've been through, all those things, we're still here. And all those behaviors, Robert talked about this too, all those behaviors that we had has a positive intention for you. But right now, maybe it just doesn't work anymore and it doesn't serve you. Those behaviors. Maybe it does not serve you anymore, but it got you here. There's an intention behind it, that behavior. And just simply say, thank you. I don't need you anymore. I'm going to put you in this rock and place you on the earth. I'm going to take some tobacco and place it on tobacco there. And Creator, I'm going to leave it in your hands. Set it up for me. What do I need to do? What do I need to next? Set it up for me. So thank you, everybody. We're the Native Oneness Institute. Yeah. We're praying for you. We love you. We love you. Have a good weekend. Bless. Hoi.